Kubo and the Two Strings was widely hailed as one of the best animated films of 2016. Sadly, despite the critical acclaim, it ended up becoming one of the biggest flops of the 2016 summer movie season with a loss in the vicinity of $80 million. So today I'm going to break down the 5 reasons why Kubo couldn't pull in the box office returns to match its critical acclaim. Poor marketing. Marketing is one of the most important aspects when it comes to selling a film, or any product for that matter. If you're wondering what the hell Kubo actually is, I can't blame you because the marketing for this film was incredibly lackluster. And if you want an indication of how bad the marketing for Kubo actually was, they didn't start marketing it until the week of its release, which just so happened to be during the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio. The only problem was that general audiences had no idea of the film's existence up until that point, so the TV spots did little to drum up interest. The trailers were vague and confusing, and the other promotional materials such as a ride at Universal Studios and some toys at Burger King also failed to generate interest. It's obvious that neither Focus nor Universal cared very much, which explains why they dumped it in late August and gave it minimal marketing support. Now I understand Focus is an art house films label and Universal is a blockbuster powerhouse in Hollywood, but come on, Kubo deserved at the very least a little bit of marketing, but in the current blockbuster climate, niche films like this have a harder time succeeding at the box office, especially when they're marketed poorly like this. Animation saturation and audience hesitancy. 2015 was a pretty lackluster year for animated films, with the only standouts being Inside Out, the Peanuts movie, and Anomalisa. But 2016 was so full of animated films, not to mention good ones, that some of them went under the radar or were ignored entirely. By the time Kubo came out, Finding Dory, Zootopia, The Secret Life of Pets, and Sausage Party had stolen its thunder, and unfortunately it wasn't different enough to stand out from the rest of the pack. Audiences are fickle these days thanks to higher ticket prices and the rise of streaming services. People aren't going to shell out exorbitant amounts of money to see a movie based on impulse. They want assurance that it's actually going to be good, which is why, more often than not, they'll minimize risk by choosing something they already know they're going to like, as opposed to something they know nothing about. With more and more animated films hitting the big screen every year, it's not enough to simply make a great film. You need to have an appealing concept that mainstream audiences can get behind. If you don't have that, you're screwed 6 ways from Sunday. I guess Dancing Trolls, Fish Who Like Sand, and an all-animal city with a prejudice problem is far more marketable than a young boy in feudal Japan. Lack of brand recognition. Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, Illumination. What do all of these companies have in common? They're all names people recognize and adore the world over. Laika isn't a household name, at least not yet. Seriously, go up to somebody and ask them who Laika is, and you'll be met with a look of bewilderment while they say, "Aren't those the guys who make those weird puppet movies?" Hollywood is obsessed with event filmmaking, so when a new Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, or Illumination film comes out, people rush out to go and see it because those brands are a symbol of reliability. Audiences already know what to expect, so it isn't a risk because they know they're going to enjoy it. Laika has only released 4 films since 2009, and since their films are so radically different compared to what people expect from Western animation, audiences aren't sure what they're going to get, and as such are not going to take a risk in giving these films a chance. And let's be honest, it's not like the Laika name puts butts into seats. The film industry is a business, and in order to succeed, you need to have a brand that people recognize, otherwise you make films of overwhelming quality that nobody bothers to see. It has an awful title. A title not only has to be simple and easy to understand, but it also has to convey what the film is actually about. Kubo and the Two Strings is one of the worst titles I've ever seen for a movie. It's vague and confusing and doesn't give the slightest indication of what the film is actually about. Seriously, what the hell does a title like this do to inspire audiences to see it? A young boy who controls origami with his 2-string guitar and goes on an epic adventure throughout feudal Japan with his reincarnated monkey and beetle parents? But does the title convey this? No, it doesn't. So is it really any surprise that general audiences stayed away from this confusing dreck? If I, as an animation junkie, have a hard time explaining the plot of what this title is based on, then how do you expect general audiences to get it? Kubo Goes to the Moon and Gets Baked with Patrick Star would be a much better title. Give me $20 and a bag of bold barbecue Doritos chips, and I could come up with a better title than Kubo and the Two Strings. It wasn't computer animated. Since the release of Toy Story in 1995, CGI has become the dominant medium in feature film animation. Traditional hand-drawn animation is dead in feature films and has been since at least 2004, and stop motion just isn't very popular in good old North America. I'm not even kidding either. The highest grossing stop motion film was 2000's Chicken Run, which grossed $224 million worldwide. The box office returns for most stop motion films tend to be middling at best. A good example of that is Shaun the Sheep movie, which bombed in North America with a paltry $19.4 million. Although that had more to do with the crappy marketing from Lionsgate more than anything else. I honestly think that if Kubo was computer animated, it might have done a little bit better at the box office. Seriously, just compare the returns, it's not even close. Now I know this may seem a little blasphemous, but Laika used to have a computer animation department, and it was developing a film titled Jack and Ben's Animated Adventure. The project was cancelled in 2008, with the computer animation department being shuttered later that year to focus on stop motion exclusively. I'm beginning to think that was a big mistake. Audiences have become so accustomed to computer animated films over the last 2 decades that they associate animation with it, and believe everything should be like it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Laika should abandon stop motion, but they should, at the very least, consider producing a computer animated film or two. It would be better for their bank account, and at least this way they could experience that sweet taste of success.